Miner Searle Bates was an American who became a missionary and professor of history at the University of Nanking in China. He was also an organizing member of the Nanking International Safety Zone Committee. Only 2 days after the fall of Nanking, Bates lodged his first protest letter to the Japanese embassy and continued to do so throughout the invasion, writing over 100 letters. In fact, 2 days after the Japanese army captured Nanking, Bates filed atrocity reports with the Japanese embassy. Bates, as well as other members of the zone, stood up to Japanese soldiers on a daily basis, stopped robberies and personal attacks. Bates, who eventually was named chairman of the emergency committee in Nanking, spent countless hours talking with Japanese soldiers and officials to plead for the lenient treatment of his staff. In January 1938, Japanese soldiers took a Chinese interpreter from the zone who had done nothing wrong. When Bates went to the Japanese officer who took him, soldiers treated Bates roughly. 3 days later, the interpreter escaped from Japanese custody and Bates allowed him to stay in his own house. Later that day, Japanese police entered Bates' home illegally and seized the interpreter. What did Bates do? He sent a letter to the Japanese embassy. In Bates' letter, he always said that he and the zone would abide by Japanese searches on the property as long as common soldiers were not conducting them. While these searches and seizures of zone workers did not stop, this abuse did not stop Bates. Because of his persistence, Japanese officials constantly accused Bates of spying and participating in military activities. Bates' house was broken into on many occasions, and his workers were harassed nearly every day. Even though the Japanese had treated Bates harshly, Bates stayed in Nanking for 5 years, protesting immoral Japanese activities. After World War II, Bates testified about Japanese war crimes in numerous trials.